Yo, what's up guys, Vojtech here. Today I would like to react to this video. Who committed the worst crime? Ex-cons rank themselves by Jubilee. Yeah, I wonder if there will be any killers or like rapists. I don't think so, right? Maybe like a robbery, but probably not nothing physical, right? But
I would
let's
put
see
you
it.
at the front.
I didn't hurt anybody during a robbery.
You did.
It's her opinion. That's traumatizing. You probably gave someone PTSD.
100% I did. 100% I did.
So what is that? How many people is that?
I tied over 100 people. But the
Okay.
Go back. Just go back. Just go back.
listen. I don't know. He's too jacked. He's in the joint. You got a picture over here. Come on up. You
In between?
something about you, but
where
I think
do I
there's a
go?
little violence there. You
I
stay right
think
there.
the bald man
I'd put me
will
about-
do
that's
the
why I get it.
worst things. I think.
Get in here. I think the girl at the end is probably unsuspecting. You'd probably be over here a little bit more. So I would put you towards that side because you don't look like you've done anything too crazy.
Too crazy, right? Yeah, I agree. She looks innocent.
I'd come to you guys' side. Quiet ones always did a lot of times, so you haven't said a word. So, so you're probably in the right
I'm
spot.
just thinking. I'm trying to think of who I can switch with. Pops, come over here with me, Pops.
Okay.
Come on.
I'd agree with that.
There's something about you that I'm puzzled about, you know, the tattoo, the way you talk. I'm not sure about you down there, you know. You're going to move over here.
All right.
You want to switch with me? Okay.
Let me see those tattoos.
My tattoos?
Yeah, let me see them.
Those are done on
You're
the
over
street.
here.
This is
I'm
prison.
over here, right? See, I'm
Over
over here.
Those are
Right here.
street. The tall guy with the hat. That's a drug charge. I put that on least serious if it was
I'm
me.
with you. That is least.
Yeah.
It's drugs. Who cares about them?
Let's see. Anybody did enough time to have face tattoos?
I actually got a face tattoo
Oh, wait.
right here.
Oh, it's covered up. You're
covered it up?
cheating.
Sometimes, like, I'm telling you, there's that twerk. You're like a serial killer. Oh, you could have.
Oh,
Could have been.
I don't think there is
You know,
any
it's like-
serial killer.
I would have a drink with you.
I'm going to take that as
That's
a
for sure.
compliment.
You got to go up there right now. You get me a little nervous.
Which side?
All the way,
Over
all the
Pops?
way, all the
Okay.
way. Pop, you stay right there. You
I
can't
don't think
fool
she
me.
did that much of a serious
Come on.
crime.
Think I'm right here? Okay.
Yeah.
I think the last two should switch. I think he probably did the worst crime. She did the least worst crime. By appearance, that's just my opinion. She looks very like angelic, like
Will they
innocent to
be
me,
just
and
switching them like
he
this
just looks
all
more
the
rugged,
time,
like
or-
he's willing to do something
How
a
about
little more
how about
dangerous,
asking
in my opinion.
questions, man?
See her hand tattoos. She's like that nurse that killed somebody, though. You know, they kill him with the stuff.
You think everybody killed somebody, man?
When I was in prison, a lot of the dudes that were in there for serious crimes didn't look like they were in there for serious crimes. If they looked like the typical dude you would see in an office, I was like, that's a sex offender. I'd put you on like a bank fraud, forgery, burglary type of scenario. You've done time, but you've done lots of
Maybe.
different stretches of time. Nothing crazy all at once is my guess.
Same.
A lot of people who did like really serious crimes, they end up finding their zen in prison. And so they'll just be this like calm aura about them. Or they've done so much time that they don't readjust well to the world. And then you catch an air of like, you know, that PTSD, that anxiety off people. And when people did a violent crime, that doesn't really tell you
She's
anything
yapping.
about their life, because that can be a 5-minute accident. But when people have drug crimes or identity theft, that's usually indicative of their lifestyle.
I disagree. If you're apt to be violent, you're going to be violent. It's not like a snap that killed the motherfucker. No, you know, it's in you to kill the motherfucker.
I was in women's prison, so violence
They
is
have
a
crazy
less...
bitches in there. You know that.
I mean, there's girls who killed their abusive boyfriends,
Right,
though. I mean, that was most of the murders that I saw.
There you go. Right. Get over it.
Surely they
Man,
will.
they gotta switch this shit.
I was feeling that vibe too.
Yeah, you get your finger in that vibe too. No. You gotta go over here.
This guy went down when he was young, and he's changed. He's not the same guy he was when he went down for something when he was 17, 18, 19. I see personal growth on this one. which I think means you did something serious. Come down here.
The young lady right here should move over. You got the spider web on your elbow. You know, it's giving me them kind of cartel vibes.
This guy here, though, you might have done a lot of time, but I don't think it was for that serious of a crime. I get like 70s dope case off you, or maybe like environmental terrorism, or some of like, you know, the radical stuff, the real radical stuff that was happening in the 70s, because I see that like political edge to you maybe. So I would put you
He
down
looks like a hippie.
at least to the right of the guy with the hat.
No, he's got a lot of murders, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's a shot
Trust
caller.
me, he's got a body.
So we have our two women over here on the end of the most serious.
Because women are like that. I mean, they could be snakes, they could be tough, and they'll shank if they have to. I mean, they'll do what they gotta do. And listen, bitches are
You know
bitches,
the
man.
names.
This gentleman over
Oh,
here has
man.
had some bad experiences with women. Clearly, he's a little traumatized. Just about
Sometimes the
nothing
name
he
is on the
says
left
about
and
women
right.
aligns with my experience in prison, where almost everybody was there for less serious crimes.
Killing their babies and stuff.
Nah, man, they were fighting back against abusive
Oh,
men,
don't
which
get in that conversation.
might be
Don't get in that
what's
conversation.
going on over
Bullshit.
here.
They hit you first, and then they say, "Oh man, he hit me because he's a baby." That bitch hits me. I thought I hit her like a man. You know,
Okay,
it's
proving
like-
my point right here.
No, because it's just about society. Listen, if a bitch slaps you, what are you supposed to do?
Slap him back.
Call your
Thank you,
sister.
Pop, man. You in the old school. Listen, I'm not gonna abuse her. I never hit a woman in my life.
This gentleman over here, he interrupts people a lot when they talk. So he doesn't have that respect value that people, or, so there's two ways this could go, or you were high up on the food chain. So I think you did bids, because you were never there long enough to get either that zen, or you were always getting in fights. You were on these short bids and you were always getting in fights because you run your mouth.
I like this. Keep going. Keep going.
There's obviously more boisterous characters, and usually from my experience, the louder they are, typically the less serious in crime. It's more of like their bravado and that's not my style. The dude with the Nike shirt on, I think he's secretly down here somewhere. That's my guess.
Where I'm at.
Bank fraud dude is down here
Yeah, I
as
think
well.
he's up here a little bit more.
I think you're over here.
Yeah,
I
this
think
way.
you're right here, actually.
Okay.
The way that I rank drug offenses is on like the lowest
Oh.
scale. I just don't
Yeah,
even think it
most
should
of
be
them
illegal.
will be drugs.
So I
Probably.
still think
completely
this guy
forgot.
has dealt with some addiction issues and went to prison on that. I put Zane down towards the end because I think he was just on drugs and kept getting some dirty ways and went to prison.
What do people who have struggled with addiction look like?
It's
All
a
of
mix. It's a mix for sure.
Everybody struggles with something. So, and listen, they should or whatever it is.
You two are serious as well as this guy right
We're
here.
something serious. You're
And
up
I
there.
think you're down here.
No.
That's my guess.
Where?
Yeah, me too.
I would
think
say
she's
you're
down.
down.
I'd say
She's down
I'd
here
put
somewhere.
you here.
Right here?
I think you two have done serious time, especially you haven't said a whole lot, and I know you probably did something serious, is my guess, because you just handle yourself.
Yeah,
a little
I
different.
object, but that's at the end.
Bank fraud and you, I think that could be a switch. But I know you don't. I think you're in that somewhat serious range.
I think he needs to come here.
I'm next to you.
And I think that'll lock it in.
Nope.
Absolutely. We're gonna lock this appearance ranking then.
So
I
about
was
that?
charged with misdemeanor DUI with injury.
I was charged with delivery of heroin,
Ooh,
conspiracy to
mhm.
distribute heroin, and drug delivery resulting in death.
I was charged with burglary of a dwelling and theft.
Wait,
I was
what?
charged with organized fraud.
Resulting in death?
Was charged with misdemeanor DUI with injury.
I was charged with delivery of heroin, conspiracy to distribute heroin, and drug delivery resulting in death.
I was charged with burglary of
Wow.
a dwelling and
Wow.
theft.
I was charged with organized fraud and grand theft.
I was charged with the RICO for armed robberies and more.
I was charged with
Rico. Organized offense. Oh.
conspiracy to trafficking, and RICO for cannabis.
I was charged with aggravated assault, attempted murder on a witness, murder, conspiracy, and gun charge.
Oh.
You got to go pop least serious. You got to go down to the end. You got to go all the way to
Switch with
the
her.
end.
She's got to go up
I
there.
think she should go
Wait.
second because her crime
Did you guys hear it? The bald black
injured
guy
someone. I
actually
think you should go
killed
third.
someone. This guy actually killed someone, and this girl, like, helped someone die. That's crazy. I wasn't expecting them to put someone like that on. Wow.
My personal thought is this was an accident. Dude gets high or drunk, crashes, it results in an injury, which sucks. It's not an intent behind that. He wishes that day didn't happen. You'd made a choice.
That's what I'm saying. That's least serious.
You made it exactly. So
you got to get back
I
here.
think you're back
Yeah,
over
you
here. I
gotta
think
come back
you, personally, if you take a gun or a weapon and try to rob someone, armed robbery is
Okay, yeah,
serious.
that's
That's like you
That's
make the
intentional.
wrong move and dude's dead. So I think yours is a lot more thought out. Bad idea. I think I'd put you over heroin.
Heroin.
Yeah, heroin. In my opinion, heroin's not a big deal. So I'm with you. I'm like, okay, drunk people are
Obviously.
down here.
I think what
Not
the
a big
intent,
deal.
that is what criminal law should be based on. Willful behavior. Accidents, that's a different thing. Because you didn't get behind the wheel
I
of
like how she killed someone and they put her on the least serious
the car
one.
and said, today's the day I'm going to hurt
Crazy.
someone.
Right.
But if you think about seriousness, could be an accident, but it's a really serious accident and 5 people get killed. An accident of a truck driver slam and kill you. That's serious.
And what was
right?
yours?
Yeah.
organized fraud.
Oh, fraud. You're going down there. You're over after the guy in the black shirt. This is good right here.
So fraud, in my opinion, is worse than drugs. So
Yeah.
this girl's got to come in
Serious
front of
though?
this girl.
I'd agree with that.
You still belong in the front, like all the way up there.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah, I
died.
still agree
you,
with that.
You need to go to number 1.
For real?
No, number 2. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Because
I
somebody-
wholeheartedly agree. You should not have been
Some-
delivering drugs.
Okay, but what about all the times that I overdosed, but
You shouldn't
someone
have
was
bought the
there to
drugs.
Narcan me? Okay, so then you just admitted that my choice to use drugs was my choice.
It is a
And
choice,
therefore
but you
my responsibility.
I understand. My mother died of a drug overdose too. Hey, she shouldn't have been doing drugs. I think that your crime is terrible. Like, you shouldn't have been selling drugs. So I think you belong in number 2.
So you think drugs are a serious crime?
I do.
Okay, that's just a matter of how we grade
Yeah, man.
seriousness. Drugs to me is
Any
not
serious
serious, so I
drug.
think opposite.
Small
Robberies, guns, murders, all that kind of stuff. A little bit hard. That's serious.
Her choices killed someone.
No, when autonomous adults consent to the risk in the behavior they are engaging in. And under that, I would actually be less serious than him because the person he hit did not consent to the risk. They were out walking or driving their car. They weren't engaging in a dangerous behavior.
With you 100%. And fraud, that's way worse than.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
I think
willfully
it's a
going
switch.
to get drugs.
Yeah, I think this is switch. I think this
I
is
don't,
switch.
I don't
Ladies.
agree with that.
Yeah,
Two
but
ladies.
you guys are drugs are just drugs.
I
man.
agree with
This is switch.
Every drug should be legal. I don't care about fentanyl should be legal.
If
Every drug.
people
It's
could
a
get
choice.
fentanyl from a pharmacy, they wouldn't die because they would
Right.
be able to dose. Fentanyl is in every hospital every single day. People don't overdose and die from fentanyl in a hospital. Why is that? Because people know their dose. You can be precise. The issue why people die from drugs is drug prohibition. That's it.
I know that. To me, it's not serious. It's a choice by everybody involved. Obvious, the guys who used violence in any one way or another, it's serious. So I think this is pretty looking good.
So I would put all drug crimes as the least serious, then accidents of whatever kind, even if they resulted in injury or death, then willful behaviors that are like nonviolent, that didn't hurt someone.
Your
like
drug distribution wasn't willful?
This is like, I mean, I don't think prostitution should be illegal because that is consenting. If it could be regulated, there wouldn't be abuses, there wouldn't be pimps.
Can't
You're right.
die
Is it
for
illegal
for
in
consenting
US?
to have sex, but okay.
But it's a consensual transaction between
I'm not very
adults.
sure,
And
honestly.
but there
I
is
guess
risk.
so.
But it's illegal.
Are you saying that the criminal law as written in the United States is infallible and perfect?
No.
Because like being a lesbian could have got me sent to prison in previous decades. Criminal
What?
law is a construct, a social construct.
What is she
It varies by
talking about?
county line. How arbitrary is that? That the side of a county line you're standing on could be the difference between probation and 20 years.
I'm agreeing. Anything time you got a choice to do what you want. But it's a choice. Everybody has choices, man. You gotta someday say, hey, fuck it, I fucked up. And change if you wanna. If you don't wanna change, that's your own business, you know? But you can do that, is what I'm getting at.
Ooh. Story.
When
Let's
I was
get
a
it.
kid, I was, a little street dealer. I moved up, and I wound up moving to Florida, and it was closer to Colombia and Jamaica. My main thing was to figure out how to get cannabis from there to here. And I wound up, doing a couple little airplane deals, then big boats, and then bigger airplanes, and
Whoa.
it just wound up just getting completely out of hand,
My guy
It was
was
nonstop
bowling.
for years and years, hundreds of thousands of pounds of cannabis, actually. And then, I got arrested. I went away for a couple of years and got out, and then got arrested again. I was set up by a friend of mine. He had owed me some money for an airplane that he had stolen from me and crashed. And that's how he put it together with me to get me into doing it, because I told him like 4 or 5 times, no, I don't want to do that. No, I'm done with that. 3 years in prison was enough for me, He kept hounding at me, and I wound up borrowing some money from some people that I shouldn't have.
But 3 years
And
is pretty
when they
lenient.
wanted it back,
Pretty
that's
good.
when he got me to conspire with him. A reverse sting.
Like hundreds of kilos of cannabis and only 3 years. It's pretty good.
Is what they called it. Where the police set you up.
I'm not
And that's
reading
when
that.
they had a hold on me real good. I made all my time in prison good. I didn't waste any time with anything that I did in there. I tried to stay positive all the time I was in there. I tried to help as many people as I could, especially youngsters, that I would try to get them out of what they were doing.
So when I was 19, I had just gotten prescribed Xanax that day. So I ended up taking 15, and
A little too much, no?
I had gone to sleep and then woken up early in the morning to drop off my friend at his house. When we pulled up to the first stoplight, I actually fell asleep, and he had woken me up and asked me if I wanted him to drive, and I told him, no, I'm good, I can drive, I'm perfectly fine. Probably no less than a minute or 2 later, I was going down a hill and I hit a tree and flipped my car. We were both not injured from the car accident, but he ended up getting an injury from kicking out my windshield. He had scratched up his entire leg, had to get stitches on his leg, and that's why it was an injury, with a DUI with injury.
Oh, okay.
So my
But
best friend
he
and I, we
recovered.
both got into
That's
OxyContin,
good.
and then they cracked down on OxyContin prescribing. So all of a sudden, it was like $100 a pill, and people were scrambling. And we switched to black tar heroin. And it took a few years before I actually got real bad in addiction. Both he and I, we wanted a better life. We didn't want that, but addiction is hell, And in that time, my friend Justin, he was going to jail, and he got out. He was trying to do the recovery thing, but he just couldn't manage it. So within a couple months, he relapsed, and he texted his drug dealer to deliver him a gram. And on the way to deliver it, his drug dealer got a flat tire. And he knew that I lived with a drug dealer. And so that night, he was going to be dope sick. And he had to go to work in the morning, or else he's going to violate his parole.
Dope sick. Painful physical agony. Okay.
And so he texted me asking if I could middleman a gram. And I did. He came over to my apartment. I asked if he wanted to stay and hang out. And he said, no, I got to work in the morning. And he left. And because he was right outside of Multnomah County on the Washington County line, he overdosed and died that night alone in his bedroom. And Washington County at that time was treating overdoses like murder. And so they raided my apartment the next day and charged me with drug delivery resulting in death for my best friend's death, and against the wishes of his family, who
it was
repeatedly
best
tried to get
friend.
them to drop the case. You know, they always say,
Oh my god, that's crazy, man. And she was saying like how consensual it was. I mean, yeah, he was an adult, so he consented to taking drugs. But come on,
like,
man.
oh, but what about the victim? So in this
Crazy.
case, his mom was listed as my victim, and she's going to court opposing the prosecution and writing a letter on my behalf at sentencing. But victims' voices only matter when they align with the punitive interests of the prosecution. So Justin was a criminal while he lived, jail, jail, prison, prison. And the first time he was ever treated as a victim was after he died. And then all of a sudden they had over $1 million to prosecute and lock us up. But they didn't have money for treatment while he lived.
Weird story, man.
When I was 18, I was living on my own. I had a 2-year-old daughter. And I was approached by my sister, and she told me that she had an opportunity for me to make some money. I would get paid $10,000 for every $40,000 that I would withdraw from the bank. I agreed because I was naive.
Czech
What I had to
fraud?
do was open up a bank account, and in turn, she gave it to the people that she was working with. They added my information to a millionaire's account, and they were transferring money from his account into my solo account. I found that out afterward. I didn't know how the money actually got in my account before this. And when we got there, I was instructed to, at the first bank, to take out less than $10,000 so that the red flags don't go up. There was 2 men, and they were the drivers driving me and my sister. I also had my 2-year-old daughter with me. At this point, I didn't even know I was committing a crime. We made it to the as soon as I left the bank, I gave the money to the guys. At the third bank, I go in and I go to the teller. I give her my ID, and I gave her another slip to take out money. And I knew right away something was wrong. I saw her reach under the desk, which I'm guessing that's when she pressed the button and she alerted the police. When the bank was swarmed with police officers, I automatically...
I don't get it though. So she opened an account. Some millionaire sent her money. She wanted to withdraw the money, but she couldn't.
knew that it was for me. Like, I felt it. And
That's not a fraud.
I got on the phone. I called my sister right away, which she was right outside with the guys in the car. And they left. They left me at the bank. I was completely alone, 2 hours away from home, didn't know where I was at. I was 18 years old. So that night I went to jail, and I had a $10,000 bond, and I was bonded out by the guys, but a couple days later, they were knocking at my door. Come to find out, they were trying to harm me because they thought that I had, given them away, even though nobody else got arrested. I was the only one ever charged for the crime. It was a huge organized fraud ring. They had over 55 victims, $1.something million was stolen. And I was also a victim because I had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. I was just told to open up a bank account. So at the end, I was charged with organized fraud. It was a white collar.
Like this girl to the left, she killed someone, and you are saying that the fraud is a worse? Nah, man, come
crime
on now.
and grand theft.
I started getting in trouble as a younger kid. 9 years old was my first charge, and they tried to take me to detention, and it didn't work because you had to be 10. So from the time I hit 10 through 18, I did a decent little chunk here and there. From detention, 16, I got put on state's custody. That's when I started doing drugs. I broke my wrist snowboarding at 16 years old and got addicted to pain pills. So from 16 basically till 18 through high school, I was addicted to heroin and opiates. It was constant drug tests, kept getting dirty ways. I couldn't stay clean and sober. It was just unfamiliar for me. Strangely enough, I have a scar on my right arm, if you may be able to see it. I was one of the first people to get sentenced to get an opiate blocker installed in my arm. 19 years old.
What is it?
I robbed my drug dealer's house.
Opiate.
Nothing was exciting in the safe, unfortunately, but that was the crime that I had committed. It was burglary of a dwelling and theft. And at 19 years old, they sentenced me to prison for burglary of a dwelling and theft. Not the amount of time. But yeah, those were my original charges, but it was heavily drug related leading up to that.
Oh, I started young. I started in organized crime at 12. Moved up, went to the service. Then I got out. Then I ended up being the biggest jewel robber in the United States. Robbed 15 to 18 million. I was hooked up with organized crime. So, but when I got arrested with helicopters, and it was fed because the state I had the mayor in my pocket, and we had the whole town who couldn't touch us. These were daytime robberies. I would go into the store, I would tie everybody up. I was, a professional. I knew who was coming, who was going. The cops were coming to hold everything. The people we had, boom, team, take them down, boom, tag. We never gagged anyone because we don't want to murder anybody because if they puke, they die. So we didn't do that. So after, we got them in there. I mean, it was a robbery. I had dynamite and everything, but thank God we didn't use it because we were going to kidnap somebody. But we didn't because that's no statute of limitation on that crime. And then even crazier, after that, I go away for not telling. So when I go away, while I'm in there, I get charged with another crime for protecting somebody. And then after that, got out. Been all over.
As a teenager, I got into the drug game early, about 15, 16 years old. I lived in with my mom. I had 4 sisters. I'm the only boy. Well, I watched my mom struggle all her life trying to take care of 5 kids by herself. So when I was in the streets hanging out, like the drug game was easy. We just stand on the corner hanging out. So I'm hanging out with them, but I ain't making no money. So I decided I'm gonna start hustling along with them. And then we started hustling, we started making money, and we started getting good at it. And we just got more into the game, from weed to serving cakes, cocaine, then crack. So with that came a lot of altercations, came a lot of fights, a lot of arguments.
Drugs
A
and
month
cakes.
after I got out of prison, I got locked up for a drug case previously. Then I bailed myself out. Then when my friends got murdered. When he got murdered, I didn't get no therapy for it, nothing like that. So I was kind of traumatized by it. And I was angry, I was hurt. And I had a mindset of that nobody else in my friends would get killed, or my family. So I was dealing with that kind of issue. And then we got into another issue with some other guys at a skating rink where we got into a shootout. I wound up killing one of the guys who was shooting at us. And was on the run for like 3 weeks. Then I got locked up. And when I got locked up, I was charged with a slew of charges that they gave us, the 5 charges. And then I was sent to jail at 19 years old.
Okay,
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna switch his aim. Yeah, y'all too. Just switch. Y'all too. That kind of good. The car accident was just him being intoxicated. The scratch on his front leg, something that he kind of inflicted on himself trying to get out. So I don't think he was
Yeah, the
responsible for
car
that,
isn't
but he
such a
got charged
problem
for it.
I
also.
could make the argument with these two still because there was a death involved. You kind of knew something was fishy, obviously. Nobody just gives people 10 grand.
Honestly,
And yours was...
Honestly, the lesbian in the middle should be like placed to the most serious after the black guy, honestly, because there is death involved. The black guy killed someone intentionally. She didn't intend to kill the person, but still a person died.
It's not willfully like, hey, I want to hurt my best friend. Obviously, no, but the result was your best friend died.
I would actually switch these two down here because the guy you shot was just as likely to have shot you. And there wasn't enough money to come into your...
Man, what is she thinking? What is her thinking, man? I don't get her. I don't understand.
community and alleviate poverty, but there was enough money to put you in prison for I don't know how long. So there's unlimited funds to lock people up, but not enough funds to lift people up. But just like whether you were the victim or the perpetrator that day was a coin toss. This gentleman traumatized I don't know how many people for the life, especially in these particular circumstances where the guy you killed was sort of consenting to the risk. He was shooting at you, right? I would put you at the front.
I mean, I don't agree, but
I agree with that.
I'm
I
glad
agree
she
because it was
explained
self-defense
herself.
and he tied people up and that is traumatizing.
I didn't hurt anybody during a robbery.
You did.
It's our opinion. It's our opinion.
Listen,
You did.
I get it. Listen.
That's traumatizing. You probably gave someone PTSD.
100% I did. 100% I did.
So what is that? How many people is that?
But you got to. No, I tried over 100 people. But the.
Okay.
Go back. Just go back. Just go back.
Listen, I didn't rob old people. I protected old people. Listen. Although what I did was wrong, there is a code I lived by. I never hurt somebody unless they were in my business. If you were in the drug business or you were in the loan sharking business, the bookmaking business, then, you're fair game.
Or if they were in the jewelry store.
Well, those jewelry stores didn't pay protection. There's a whole thing. The mob is a whole different animal.
Because they weren't in.
I'm not saying right. Again, I
I
changed
don't think
my
you're
life.
taking responsibilities for your actions.
Especially if they stay in the jewelry business, and now every day when they go to work in the
PTSD.
profession that they've had for their entire life, they're gonna think it's today the day. It's today the day.
Listen, they
No,
couldn't get
this
one person to come
Morgan-
testify against me.
Morgan is
Not one. You
tweaking
know
me
why?
They were
for sure,
scared.
for sure.
No.
You were in the mob.
I mean,
bro.
Listen,
She
you're
said
wrong.
that
And I'll
getting
tell you
off
why, and I mean
drugs
this. They
was
said
hard,
he's a nice guy.
and
I
I'm
robbed a
pretty
store
sure
in
she
Sarasota,
never got
Florida.
off on
Great
slip.
store. Doing
She
old
looks
people come in.
sus.
I put them down nicely. I didn't even tie them up.
You tied
Oh
up
no
the
no no
old
no no!
people?
I was. Listen,
Come down nice.
I had the two people in the store tied up.
He made a nice bow.
The girl, I used to do it in a suit and all. They buzz. Oh, here's people. I'm already robbing it. We went in, took them down. I let them in. I opened my jacket. I said, "You're in a robbery." The old lady goes. I go, "No, no, 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 no. You come with me." I put them in a chair. I put the other. No trauma. I said to him, "Listen to me. Listen, dog. Listen." I said to him, I said, "Don't do anything. Give me 5 minutes, and we're out of here. Just get up and call the police." He said, "Okay." In the newspaper the next day, it said, "They were nice guys. They had a story
She was
until
still
they're dead."
traumatized.
But who?
She was still traumatized.
No shit. Why are you see, there's where snowflakes do it. And I'm not calling
It's okay.
anybody
It's my
snowflake.
opinion.
Again, good. No, I agree. But we got to get tough. We got to get where you listen. Things happen to all of us. He had addiction issues. He turned around. He didn't fucking say, "Oh, me."
didn't say you didn't change
I'm gonna
your
stop
life.
this shit. And you fucking changed. I love people who change. I changed.
When you're in that criminal lifestyle, to you at that time, you thought you were being gentle with them. You were being nice. I didn't gag them. I didn't do this. They're living a regular people life. That is traumatizing. If you are a regular old couple
Not in our
cruising
life.
through the jewelry store looking for your new watch or whatever, dude rolls up, "Hey, let me gently tie your ass up." That's pretty rough for them. You know what I mean? Like at their psyche
Yeah,
at
you
that
don't have
point,
to say
it's
it so
rough.
nice, you know. But
you
listen, I'm
opened
sure I tied up an asshole once, and he deserves to be tied up.
Okay, but you opened your
there's
jacket to flash guns after?
Just like, yeah. What was a BB gun? I never used a real
Oh,
gun.
They didn't know that.
Right,
But yeah,
right.
they didn't know.
There's trauma.
But I think
I don't use guns because you get a lot of
you
time.
have a strict moral code so that you can sleep at night, but it's within the mindset of like the criminal lifestyle. Like you're right, you traumatized them less than you could have, and that's good. But you did hurt them.
I think you're justifying it so that you can be at peace with yourself. And although you've changed, I still feel like that's traumatizing to people.
But we live in a fluid, crazy, violent world.
No, but most people don't, man. Most
Yes,
people
they do.
don't.
I
Most
don't
people
anymore.
do.
Yeah.
Most people do.
Listen, you said you had the mayor in your pocket. I can infer from that a lot of things about your connections and your power in that city at that time, which would maybe deter people from wanting to testify.
I get, well, you're 100% right. But when you have parties in cities and you take care of the city and the people there, the poor people, never paid for a thing. I did things for that town. Now, to this day, there's pictures and they talk about, because I help families with kids, give them sneakers, do a lot of good. People just think of crime as, oh, that guy, throw him away. But there's a lot of economy in crime.
But they say the ends don't justify the means.
You're number one.
Humanity.
I personally don't think that Larry takes responsibility for his actions. I think he just thinks that it was just nothing. So I feel like if it presented itself, he's probably likely to reoffend, in my opinion.
Seriously, I got to switch with him.
No, you're number one. No, you're number one.
No, you're definitely at the front. Even
But
though this
no,
was
the
just
black one
cannabis,
should be
if you're at the
number one.
level of like
planes.
planes and stuff. Like, that is stuff I've only seen in the movie Blow, man. Like, that is like Hollywood to me. And like the level of profit you were making off that, that's some crime. Like, I mean, like, that really is like, you know,
Richard is
organized
smiling
crime
now.
to the highest degree.
So
And
you're to like the lowest power, and he was to the highest degree.
Richard
on
must have
marijuana.
fun
I mean,
stories to
he was
tell
making
his
I don't know.
grandkids,
Did you
right?
say how much money you were making?
No,
Okay.
Should the girl?
a lot of money.
Right.
Lots of money.
I'm just thinking if his was more serious than yours, because you were how old?
18.
When you're that young, it's so hard to conceive of like abstract consequences, which is what like you
Yeah,
had no idea how
Richard
much time you were
definitely
facing.
I see.
is
It was more
worse than
organized than
the
mine.
black
Yes.
girl.
Yeah.
Well, one takes a small
Because the black girl only went to withdraw money and she didn't really know what was she doing, you
army, and
know.
one takes one
And this guy
person.
was, you know,
So
You
what
were
do you
doing it for a lot of
coordinating
years. My
planes.
crime took one day. That's it. And it was
That's what I'm
like
saying. But it would have took
Crazy.
more than one day if you didn't get caught. All right?
maybe,
You would have
maybe.
continued and continued.
You're right. You're right.
Till you,
Maybe.
till you drained the account.
How long was your organization?
I don't know, 10, 12.
Oh, yeah.
switching
I
that
don't
from the movie?
The
What,
way I
10,
think,
12?
the way I think,
Right
here-
here.
Right
Like
here.
years.
the way I think about it
Not
is,
years,
you had the
months.
most serious crime, all right?
In self-defense?
Especially when it comes to a human life. And it was an accident with what happened with you, but there was a human life involved. So you would be next to him.
Right.
You know, as far as
Richard
serious
is
crimes,
smart
as far as
thinker.
serious stuff went down.
You're still number one.
You're still on the end,
number
bro.
one.
Come on.
Nobody moved you.
Trying to get at it.
But I just so profoundly disagree with that. You're using this framework of like human life,
I only look
that
at-
being the end all be all if there was a death, but circumstances matter.
It kind of is
Intent
the end all be all though,
matters.
because like you can recover from a financial disaster. You can recover from someone robbed me. You can't recover from death, so that's why there's a little bit more seriousness to that
When
because
it
they
was-
don't get a chance anymore.
The day before, it could have been Justin middlemaning me the gram, and I overdosed for the 13th time. Okay, that is a coin flip of a circumstance.
But it was still, if they charge you, I'm not saying I believe in the charge at all. Nobody there has, had people charged with losing a life. You did. So he's got a point at being up here. You should go here. Move up, move up, move up, move up.
I think you should be on the end, and you should be here.
Maybe.
I don't
No,
agree
I
with
don't
that.
feel like self-defense should
don't know.
be the worst crime. I would definitely kill somebody if they're shooting at me.
It should
Definitely.
be
I would-
like
But what led
this,
up to
I
him
guess.
shooting at him?
Richard
Like he's
is
in
right.
that world. They're
Richard
going
is
after each other,
always
so
right.
they know that, right?
Okay, but the people he tied up weren't in that world. He needs to
That's
be
why
at the
I'm with
front.
you. I could
I'd
make the
agree with
argument that dude's down here.
He's up front, I would
I
say.
red is the
forgot
red
what
one, yeah,
the
for sure.
little guy
Yeah.
did.
He tied up,
Dies.
admitted to tying up over
Do I
100
have to
people.
move? Do I have to move?
That's pretty true.
Do I have to move?
I think Pops and Nike should switch spots.
Oh, me and Pop?
No, not you.
Nope,
You're
nope,
you're
you're good.
You're good. You're good right there.
So
High five.
you
He's good.
all the way be in front of
Wow,
her.
who put this in there?
Yeah, I
Who
What?
put my man over there?
I
He's
would
down with
switch
me.
you two.
It's
She's in my
self-defense.
crew.
What's the,
Yeah, switch.
I said,
What? What
Yeah,
are
you
they?
can't be more serious. But then wait, no, man, I
You gotta
can't
go
be
in
in
front of
front of
her.
you. Yeah.
okay.
I mean, this is debate.
Man, what are they doing? This guy is a killer. This girl helped kill a guy. This guy crashed a car. This girl just went to withdraw her money. I mean, and I forgot what he did. He robbed jewelries, and cannabis. Hey man, honestly, I don't know. I feel like it definitely shouldn't be like this. It should be like I forgot what 5 did, so sorry about that. I guess like this, right? But hey, let's see.
Yeah, well, but again,
No, he's totally on the other end of this, man. He had no life lost.
I feel like that looks good.
That's just
We
a saying.
don't know that.
Pop, go down there, man.
Where?
Go down to right after the guy black. No, the DUI.
Right.
Oh, no, the girl. Come on, she knew more than she said. Go to the back.
She knew more than
You go to the back. She knew more.
You don't like me.
Listen, you're not getting 10
It's
grand
okay.
out of 40.
He had a 10-year organization flying planes and drugs into another country.
It's
Are you
seriousness.
serious? That is serious.
Wait a minute. He's helping people. You are taking people's life savings.
All
What
right.
happens when they take the money out of the account?
Insurance.
No. Nope. Not
In-
all
in-
the time.
Yeah, FDIC insurance.
Yeah,
Not all the
yeah.
time.
Up to
Yes, it is.
250K.
He got his money back.
But that's
what
because
she
you
did.
got
That's,
caught.
thank you to the FDIC.
I also feel like you need to be up more just because, like, that's some pretty serious criminal activity. You ask me, even if it's just with weed.
All right.
So I'd put you, like, right after her.
After her? Or
Yeah, like
Right here.
yeah, right there.
Hello.
Are you guys sure this is your final ranking?
Yes.
I mean, not bad.
In 7th place, we have Zane with the shortest sentence. In 6th place, we have Dallas. In 5th place, we have Morgan.
What? Man,
In 4th, Camille. In 3rd, we have Will.
what?
In 2nd, we have Larry.
Man, the sentencing sometimes is just
And in 1st, we have
broken.
Richard.
For DUI with injury, I was sentenced to 2 years without a license, 3 months of rehab, and 3 months of DUI classes.
For burglary of a dwelling and theft, I was sentenced to 0 to 5 years in state prison.
Because of mitigating circumstances, I was pled down to conspiracy to distribute heroin and sentenced to 5 years.
For organized fraud and grand theft, I was sentenced to 6 years in state prison.
For murder in the third
Man.
degree, I was sentenced to 15 to 30 years.
For Rico.
How did Morgan get 5, but the black girl got 6? Man, come on.
Organized crime and Hobbs Act robbery. I was sentenced to 4 12-year sentences.
I was charged with conspiracy to trafficking, and racketeering for cannabis, and I was sentenced to 98 years on a reverse thing.
Oh, so is he like 120 years old
Let's
now?
share with each other how much time you guys actually served.
I spent 5
Oh,
days
okay.
in jail.
Between juvenile, detention, wilderness, foster care, all that stuff included, jail, all that stuff. The longest one-time stretch I did in prison was 18 months, but I've done roughly 5 years total. They sentenced me to 18 months contingent upon completion of the HOPE program, which was like a drug-related program. I completed that program, got out, and was still a drug addict. Picked up more charges after, and luckily they sent me to, it's called drug court. And that's where I found like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. It's where I got long-term sobriety and went through a rehab program in Southern Utah. And next month I'll have 15 years of sobriety. So that's what it was all about.
I served 4.5 years. They gave me a much lower sentence. I was able to beat the drug delivery resulting in death because the prosecutor said I did not meet the typical definition of a drug dealer. And again, because my friend's mom was opposing the prosecution, they sort of dropped it to the minimum that they could without making it look like there was extreme sentencing disparities.
I served 4.5 years. I got out on probation, violated my probation. I got sent back and did around 9 months.
I was sentenced to 15 to 30 years, but I wound up getting 10 years suspended for the conspiracy, and I served 10 to 20 years. 10 years in prison, 10 years on the street.
I ended up doing
Just
4
10
12 duty.
and
You have to
10
do the
for
12 because
killing.
I lost good time. Total 14 and a half years with 12 straight on the Fed bit.
You know, I know that in some states they give you like 50 years just for killing, but I don't know what state he lives in, but he only got 10 and 10. That's pretty good deal.
Man, my time in prison was pretty wild because I spent 3 years in the hole, over a year straight in the hole. I was abused, strapped down naked, beaten, peed on by guards, all documented, and that's all fighting the abuses of prison. Had a rough time, but I did quit, got my law degree, and now I help a lot of people.
I've spent 32 calendars day for day before I got out.
32 years.
32 years.
Maximum security prison. I'm the longest serving nonviolent inmate in the history of this country. They couldn't have gave me any more time. When they said that to me, I was like, I looked over at my lawyer and I said, they're not serious, are they? He said, don't say a word about it. We'll get you back. It's an illegal sentence, da-da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, make a long story short, I spent 32 calendars.
You feel like your crime matched your sentence?
For me personally, I did
It's a long
do what I
time.
did. I take accountability for it. And I did 18 months, which at the time was a lifetime when I was 19 years old. But it was expected. That was the life I was living at the time. So it's like I don't feel bad about the amount of time that I received for it. I felt it was somewhat fitting.
I get where you do time. We all do time. I probably got away with more than I did. But when you see pedophiles get very little time, I think that the sentencing disparities. I'm not saying that it was wrong. I deserve to be in prison. I'm one of them.
Some are
But a lot of
weird.
people did not deserve to do the time they did, or the length of time they did, obviously. So there's a lot of disparities there. So, but I got to say, I did what I did.
I think I got a great break from not getting that time or getting life in prison, because I thought I would get life in prison. Because a few of my friends were getting life for lesser crimes, or just having conspiracy to a murder, and they got life.
As someone who struggled with addiction, for all those overdoses I had, where Justin technically is the one who sold me the dope, even if it was just like middlemaning, to think that
She's
if I
speaking
would have
so
died,
much, man.
he could have been charged with that, that makes me sick. But for my 5-year sentence for what I was charged with, because that carries a 20-year mandatory minimum, and if I was black, I would still be in prison. So I cannot be mad about my 5 years.
What?
But for my 5-year sentence for what I was charged with, because that carries a 20-year mandatory minimum, and if I was black, I would still be in prison. So I cannot be mad about my 5 years when people all across this country are serving way longer sentences when they're charged with that.
I'm really sick of burying my friends, and it seems like right now we wait for an overdose to occur so we can punish someone instead of preventing it, because we know what prevents overdoses. And it's not sending people to prison, but that's still the go-to thing that the government is doing. It makes me mad that we can spend millions of dollars either putting, people in jail or prison for possession, my charge, which is users most often. It's not like kingpins like it was intended. It's just users, and putting people in prison for 20 years. When if you think about it, that much money, if we invested that in treatment, in harm reduction, we could be saving lives.
And we still have some of the highest crime rate out of any wealthy country in the world.
Not only the highest crime rate, we have the highest prison incarceration rate,
That's
rate
right.
per capita or not per capita, actual straight numbers. Most states are past most of these countries. States in the United States have more people incarcerated than these countries. So we can go, and we know it's not working because our recidivism rate is high and our crime rates are high. So why don't we do it? And let's get to that. The big thing, Congress won't pass a law. They're all making money. Private prisons, it's a big thing. How many jobs are involved? It's all a bunch of bullshit.
I think, for the time that I done for the crime, the time was ridiculous.
Yes.
They have to make adjustments in this country. There's no doubt about it. It's out of control, and there's so many people still in prison. For the crime that I was in prison for nonviolent cannabis charge. There's over 50,000 people in prison right now that need to come home. When they told me 98 years, I said, you got to be kidding me. For a nonviolent cannabis charge? Something that doesn't hurt people, it only makes them feel better. They got a pain in their foot, or they got a headache, or they want to just relax. It's really quite incredible.
Can you talk about how you got out early?
The Last Prisoners Project found out about me through my daughter and my son and my nephew. They got in touch with me, and within 2 months I was home.
Wow.
And I was facing the rest of my life in prison. The bottom line is they let me out because they were afraid of what would happen because the media got a hold of it. All the politicians were already getting in line to see how they could get their hands in it, and that's more or less, they didn't want the media on them. That's how fast it happened. I mean, it was like, you got to be kidding, I'm going home.
What are you doing now?
Now I'm in the cannabis business in the state of Florida. Cannabis, buds and pre-rolls. I'm looking to, I'm expanding as we're speaking right now.
I've got like just a thought, I guess. I've been out of prison for 17 years now. It feels like it was yesterday. I called my dad the other day. I'm like, I've been out for 17 years. This is crazy. I went when I was 19. My life today, if people know me today, they would have no clue if they watch this and they're like, what? My solar guy is a prisoner? What the? Like, no way. So like, people can change. Things get different. My life today is significantly different than what it was back in the, when I was actively involved in criminal behavior. But yeah, life gets better. Everyone can make that change. So that's kind of the message I want to throw out.
This was a super thing today. This was special. I'll put this on one of my things, on my list, that this was one of the special things I've done since I've been home.
That's so sweet, so sweet. Alright. Who committed the worst crime? Ex-cons ranked themselves by Jubilee. Hey, check out the original. Honestly, it was what I expected. Pretty good video. I was surprised though that some people just rank, they do the ranking in a weird way. But hey, definitely, this guy definitely didn't deserve such a long time. And other than that, I was a little surprised that he got only 10. And I was also surprised that this got less than this. Yeah, but other than that, fair good video. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know how would you rank them. Check out the original in the description below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.